All right, Chapter 6, The Last Hurrah, 1983. Um, By 1983, the market was starting to wane. The mad rush to play new games had worn off. Video arcade games have been on a fast ride up in popularity since first appearing in the 1970s, but 1983 marked the first year of a downturn. Some arcades were forced to close, but even though some players were losing interest, the business was still profitable for many developers because the gaming industry had amassed a large following of fans. At the time, no one knew whether 1983 marked just a temporary dip or the start of a steady decline. Most video games took 3 to 12 months to develop, and so many games introduced in 1983 actually were in the works while the market was still booming. This led to a healthy supply of new games for the start of 1983, but by the end of the year, sales were down and many smaller companies were forced to close. Several innovations in gaming helped keep the market viable for another year, but just as fast as this trend started, it was about to end. The animation staff used their own voices for their characters instead of hiring professional actors in order to keep costs down for Dragon's Lair. Dragon's Lair was created by Cinematronics, a developer that primarily made vector graphic games and did not have any big hits aside from Space Wars in 1977, but that was soon all about to change. Cinematronics teamed up with veteran ex-Walt Disney animator Don Bluth of The Secret of NIMH and American Tail Titan AE to create a fully unique experience in arcade games. Dragon's Lair was the first game sold based on using a laserdisc to display images. Astronaut Belt by Sega is considered the first game developed to use a laserdisc. It was shown first at a trade show, but Dragon's Lair was the first to market. The laserdisc allowed the game to feature jaw-dropping graphics on par with the best animated movies. Not since Pac-Man had a game created such a sensation. In its August 8, 1983 issue, Newsweek called it this summer's hottest new toy, the first arcade game in the United States with a movie-quality image to go along with the action. The success is even more amazing since Dragon's Lair was one of the first games to cost 50 cents to play, double the normal quarter. The object of the game was to help the main character, Dirk, reach the Dragon's Lair, slay the enemy Singe, and rescue Daphne, the princess. Players used a joystick not to control the on-screen hero, but to direct him. As an animated scene played, the player had to make split-second decisions about which direction the character should go. Based on this input, the game would then play either the next scene if the player chose correctly fast enough or a death scene if he did not. Ultimately, the simplistic linear gameplay was its downfall. Players lost interest once they found out they just needed to memorize the pattern to beat the game. Its high popularity, though, allowed it to be translated to most computer and video game systems over the years, including the iPhone in 2010. It also spawned two sequels, Space Ace, released during the market crash in 1984, and Dragon's Lair 2, released in 1991, but neither did as well as the original. Spy Hunter. Spy Hunter was developed at Midway by George Gomez, the same designer behind the previous year's hit game, Tron. In Spy Hunter, players were secret agents who used a steering wheel with four weapon buttons, a gas pedal, and a gear shifter to control a car or boat that was rigged with a variety of weapons. The view of the game was from above, like looking down from a helicopter right above the action. The player drove on a vertically scrolling road or river to get as far as possible while eliminating enemy vehicles attacking them. Enemies could bump players off the road, smash into them, or shoot them with guns or torpedoes. Players had a few tricks up their sleeves to help them win. Their vehicle had unlimited short-range machine guns. They had the ability to drop a limited supply of oil slicks to make enemy vehicles behind them spin out. They could put a smoke screen to slow them down, or they could use surface-to-air missiles to shoot them down. At times, an ally would appear in a weapons van and position itself in front of the player. If players could quickly line up and drive into the van, their weapon supplies would be recharged. The car the player drives in Spy Hunter is known as the G6155 Interceptor. The birthday of designer George Gomez is 6155. James Bond theme song was the original music used in Spy Hunter, but Midway was unable to secure the license, so it was changed to the theme for Peter Gunn before shipping. Spy Hunter was known for its appealing music, which was the theme from the television show Peter Gunn, which ran from 1958 to 1961. A lot of players were unfamiliar with the show, so the music became iconic to the game. It was referred to by many fans as a theme from Spy Hunter. Star Wars. Atari pulled out all the stops to create the arcade game Star Wars, which was officially licensed from Lucasfilm Limited and released along with the third film, Return of the Jedi. Not since Tron had a movie licensed game done so well, it was instantly popular among players and critics alike. Atari chose to make Star Wars a vector game, a technology that uses lines to draw the screen instead of the more common raster technology that uses dots to produce detailed images. This is one of the last great vector games ever made, as the technology soon was outpaced by the more versatile raster method.